Hello from Halo. This is Sam speaking, and this is our second iteration of uh, our video on sending out our artwork to be digitized for embroidery processes. We like this digitizer, award-winning, and it's a very quick turnaround. If we send a design at the end of the day, we are basically guaranteed to get it by the beginning of the next day. I believe it's a 24-hour guaranteed turnaround, but it usually doesn't take a full 24 hours. So first of all, this is the page, the home screen when you go to ignitiondrawing.com. That's the website. And we're going to go ahead and log into our account. So this is our email username. It's an old username, or my old email, sam@metrosign@gmail.com. As for our password, that can be found in our login information text. We're going to go ahead and sign in so you can see what it looks like, what the interface looks like. So this is where our previous projects will be found. This is where we can go to those projects individually. I should also mention this website does more than just digitizing. It does rebuild vectored logos, and it also prepares those vectored files for separation in a screen printing process. But that's not the process we'll be talking about today. We'll be talking about placing an order for digitizing. So up here, we're going to go to this drop-down menu for orders. We have search order, place vector, or place digitize, meaning place a digitized order. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And then from here, we have we need to bring in our design to be digitized. And let's see, for our example is going to be a Popeyes order that was recently done. So I'm going to go in here through our work files, and I usually name them according to, let's see, where it is. Here it is. Here's the GMS logo. So that's the logo that we will be using. And this is a customer provided artwork. It's clear enough for the digitizer to be able to break the design down into shapes. This is not a vectored file. Sometimes vectored files are not available, but I do recommend using them. And when you do have a vectored file, I recommend sizing it to the actual size you would like the design to be digitized at. So once you upload the design you would like, you go for pricing. I've never had to go anything other than the $30 option under 200K stitches, or 20K stitches, excuse me. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Anything larger than, say, maybe 4x4, 5x5, it's gonna go a lot, it's gonna require more stitching, obviously, but we don't do anything yet that falls outside of the range of hats, left chests, or sleeve work, or even bag work. And those designs are pretty small. So for our PO, what I usually place, you can see, is I go by, we're playing something in the background. I usually go by the order number, and then the customer name, and then the placement that is calling for. So for this one, the order number is 7123. And there, I've already entered this order before, so this is just an example. But this is the naming convention for the PO. That way, when it comes back, I know what that design was used for, in which order it was used for, and where the placement is. I don't have any coupons, so we're gonna leave that blank. For pre-existing embroidery, in this case there was not any. If there was a pre-existing embroidery, that is, a customer came in and requested that we match previously done work that they already possess, we would go ahead and hit yes for that option and upload an image of that embroidery so that the digitizer has something to look off of. But since this doesn't have a pre-existing embroidery, we're going to hit no. For the embroidery size, I believe I had it at 1 inch wide And this is at this size due to its placement being on the sleeve. Obviously, this size is very dependent on the placement, the shape of the artwork, but in general, you're going to want to keep it to in inches, and then wide, and that's the what's the term I'm looking for? I guess the ratio that we want to keep as a standard. So for the product type, for garments, I call those flats. Well, they call them flats too, but for garments like shirts, bags, and blankets, and then for caps, and then back of cap text. We have yet to do back of cap text, but basically it's asking for what item we are creating the digitizing to be placed onto. And it's important because the way caps are sewn is not quite the same way as flats are sewn. A good standard we usually go for is digitizing for caps anyway, because I've learned that cap files can sew on flat files, but flat files cannot sew on caps. So it's worth it to have the cap file or have a design made for a cap file, so that in the event it needs to be placed on a cap, you already have a good working file for it. Then there's the material type. I always go for twill or denim, unless of course it's going to be on a performance wear t-shirts. We do those pretty commonly, and you can pick both of them. It helps the digitizer know what density to actually sew on. For sew out options, I don't usually do anything with these. It doesn't really affect the art anyway. It just affects how the digitizer will actually show you how it sews out. So I don't change that at all. The machine file, I've liked it at DST for universal. That way I don't have to worry about whether or not that machine file can actually sew. For software file, we do have Wilcom software in-house, so I always have my software files set for Wilcom. That way I can actually work with them from my end. Connection threads, I don't really mess with that setting at all. I keep it standard. And then there's a question, fill background with stitching. For this one, I'm going to put no. If you look at it, obviously there's that black background, but the customer just wants the GMS. So I do indicate that the background will not have to be filled with stitching. And then the final question is this a tackle twill or applique? No, we have yet to do applique. And then for notes, I like to give a little bit more direction for the digitizer to know what we're looking for. So for this one, I'm going to put black, I can type, black background does not need digitizing. And I'll also mention one color. Ooh, I can't type with one hand. One color design and indicate our color that I'm thinking. Royal. I'm doing this because obviously this is a gradient. If you can see that in the camera. There's no real way to be able to sew something like that, so we're just going to simplify it, and we've talked to the customer about this. We'll go ahead and simplify it to one color. I think we have a royal blue thread that'll work as a good in-between for that gradient, but I did want to mention this to the digitizer so that they understand that we understand they can't sew as a gradient. And then there's the order breakdown. Give it a quick look over if that's what you want, and then you hit submit. So when you hit submit, I won't do this now because this has actually already been done for us, but when you hit submit, you will get an email sent, or I will have an email sent to this account indicating that the order has been confirmed. And then the next morning there should be an email looking like this sitting in the inbox. If you don't have access to that inbox, that's absolutely fine. You can just go back to the original login page and just hit our credentials in there and log into the account again. So when you get there, actually go here so you can see what I'm talking about. So the new order will show up here. If you don't see it, because again, this is a little bit older order, I'm going to hit view orders. It may take it a while to process. Here's our previous orders done, and here's that order we had just mocked up an order for. So this is what the page will look like when the artwork has been finished and it's ready for download. So here's the stitch out, here's the original graphic, and here's the digitized, or the digitizer view of that artwork, and the size breakdown, what it'll look like. I'm looking at this, I realized I put 1 inch wide in our mock-up, and this one I actually had it digitized at 2.5 inches wide. So that was a little bit of a discrepancy I wanted to point out. And here is the options for actually downloading the software file and the machine file. You can download the proof if you need it, the stitch file, the view original file, and download the run sheet. I don't really mess with these options because they don't add much value to the actual process. And I've since stopped downloading the machine file, so I found that that's just excess inventory. I just hit download the software file. Once I download it, I'll go straight to it in my downloads, so I don't forget, because obviously this number in our production doesn't really have much relevance. So as soon as I can, I grab that digitize artwork. I'm going to copy. I'm going to go to clients, and this is a Popeyes placement, so I'm going to go to hold on, I'm going to go to Popeyes. And if there isn't a client folder already, go ahead and make one. And if the client folder does not have an embroidery file in there, go ahead and make one. And here are the different artworks. We have a left chest and then right sleeve placement. And then here is all the right sleeve, the other right sleeves that we've done before. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in here and rename it. I'm gonna go with Popeye. A short description, so I'm going to put GMS of what that artwork is, and then I'm going to look over here. It's not giving it to me for some reason. Oh, I need to expand it maybe. There it is. So on this machine, actually, if you click on embroidery files, it'll tell you the stitch count. It says 1998. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the title so that sales can actually see that stitch count if they need to go back and reference for pricing. 1998, good year. And that is how you make an order for digitizing, and you process that digitized artwork into our system. Again, this was Sam speaking, and I hope this video helps in our future processes in our embroidery department.